today's trick, we need the deck to be completely shuffled. So let's go ahead, give it a few small riffle shuffles, just like this. And when we're ready, I'm gonna have the spectator just reach in, pull out any card that they want to. It's completely 100% free choice. So I tell them to look at the card and I will turn away so I can't see what the card is. So there's the card. And when they're done looking at the card, I'm actually gonna hand them the entire deck so that they have control over everything. And I'm gonna turn around and give them some instructions. So normally in a card trick, what would happen is the magician would lose the card in the pack, but I've done that before many times, and a lot of people accuse me of controlling the card to be in a certain location so that I know exactly where it is. Well, for this trick, I do not want to know where it is. I actually want you to have complete control over where your selection ends up in the deck. So we'll do this with a very simple procedure. So I want you to think of any number, and for this example, I'm gonna just have a quick example of the number 10, just to make it easy. So if you were gonna think of the number 10, I want you to take your card and place it exactly in the 10th position. We're gonna do this by dealing 9 cards onto the table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You will then take your selection and place it on top of the deck. Then you'll take the 9 cards that you've dealt and place those on top of the deck, on top of your selection, which will then bury your card to be in the 10th position. So does that make sense? Yes. So, but of course, don't think of 10 because that was just an example. Think of any number you want. So I'm gonna give them the deck. I'm gonna turn around because I don't wanna see anything. Let's say they think of the number 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Here's their card one more time. They're gonna place it right here on top of the deck as the 16th card now in the deck. So at this point, I can actually turn back around because I have zero clue where I placed the card. I was turned around the entire time and they had complete control over the deck, complete control over what number they selected. But that's not gonna stop me from trying to find your card, obviously. So what I'm gonna do is just make a few educated guesses here. I'm gonna say you didn't go too far down in the deck because that would take a while. But you didn't go too far up in the deck either. It's somewhere in the middle, not quite sure where. But you know what, I'm just gonna go for it here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, right about there. That is your card. You don't believe me? Well, let's go ahead and check. What was the number that you chose? What position was your card in? They tell me 16. Well, let's see if your card is still in the 16th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is this your card, the red king? No, it isn't. Well, is this your card here in the 15th position, the black king here? No. Well, if your card isn't anywhere here, then that only leaves one possible explanation. That I have shot your card exactly out of the 16th position in the deck. And that right there is the trick. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this trick. This is actually a trick that I came up with a couple of months ago because I just really like the idea of having the spectator have complete control over where their card ends up in the deck. And it's really true. They have complete control over the deck and their selection. They really take their card and they place it exactly where they want to in the deck. And then you take it back and you're able to find it instantly. So it's a really, really cool, really powerful effect. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get into how it's done. So this trick does require a really small little setup, but it's actually possible to be able to get into it from an impromptu shuffled deck position. So theoretically, yes, you could do this with a borrowed deck, but you will need to set up just very, very small little thing here. You just want to find any pair of cards. So I'm just going to do the ones that I did in the performance here. So I will take out the 2 red kings just like this, and then I will take a random card, does not matter what the random card is, and place it in between the soulmates. And this 3-card stack will go on the top of the deck. That's your setup right there. So as you can see, this is definitely possible to get into this setup from an impromptu shuffled deck. But if you don't want to get into it from an impromptu shuffled deck, you can just set it up beforehand. It takes 2 seconds. It's just these 3 cards right over here. So once you're in this position, you're completely ready to go for this trick. So all you want to do is give the deck some shuffles. but you just want to maintain those top 3 cards on the deck, of course. So once you're done shuffling the deck, you're going to have the spectator select any card, and they can truly select anyone from the middle of the pack. Just make sure they don't choose one of the top 3. As they're looking at the card, it doesn't matter what the card is. What you're going to do is you're actually going to get in a get ready position to palm the top 2 cards off of the deck. So I like to do this just by pushing off the cards and then pulling them back to catch a break with my pinky. And then I'm just gonna kind of lift these cards with my fingers up into my palm like this. And then I'll hold these in a palm position. And the palm position will be held between my pinky and the base of my thumb, just like this. And this is a really easy position to get into because the spectator is going to be completely distracted while they're looking at their card. So you have all the time in the world to get into this position without the spectators really watching you do anything. And you can also be turned around at this point because you don't want to see the card. So once they have the card, you actually don't need to worry about them placing it back in the deck or doing anything like this because you're actually gonna hand them the entire deck now. But you're still palming these 2 cards away. So your hand is just gonna go down to your side. So I'll place these 2 cards over here for now, but just pretend that these are still in my palm. But at this point, the spectator has completely free reign over where they place their selection. They can place it in the 10th position, they can place it in the 42nd position. It really doesn't matter where they place the card. They can truly place it anywhere in the middle. So let's say they place it in the 20th. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then here, you want to make sure they place it in the 20th position where they want, and then take these cards and then place it on top of their selection. So you just want to make sure that you give the clearest instructions so that there's no miscommunication. You want to make sure they completely understand where they have to place the card because it is very important that the number that they say is the actual position that their card is in, or else this trick is not going to work. So once they have placed the card in their desired position, in this case the 20th position, you, the magician, are turned around this entire time. And you truly have no idea what's happening. You don't know if the card is in the 6th position or the 33rd position. You have 0 clue where their card actually is at this point. All you have to do is take these 2 cards. When you turn around, you're gonna take the deck back, but you're going to take the palmed cards that you have right here, and you are going to drop them on top of the deck and then slide the entire deck back on the table and pick it up. So what that will secretly do is it will add these top 2 cards to the top of the deck. The trick is almost over. All you have to do is find their card. You're going to be doing this next part every single time. This is going to happen every single time in the trick. You still don't know where their card is truly, but you're still going to be able to find it. And this is the secret because you're not actually shooting out their card. You're going to be shooting out the top card of the deck, which is going to be one of your red kings over here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna perform the bonsai spin out move. And I've taught this move before in a couple other videos, but I'll go over it really quickly here. So you're gonna grip the deck on the side just like this. And then your left hand is also going to grip the deck on the side, but your left hand is going to be gripping the upper portion and your right hand will be gripping the lower portion of the deck. So it's very important that you split the deck up in those positions in your hand. So your left thumb will lift up about half the cards, and then your right index finger is going to contact the top card. And all you're gonna do is basically split your hands apart, but your right index finger is going to drag the top card along and it's going to shoot out. And this is going to be the top card of the deck, aka one of the kings. And that is all the move is. And you're just gonna do this really quickly. 1, 2, 3. And it looks like the card just shoots out of the middle. I actually like to leave it in this position here with the cards kind of split up because it really gives a nice image to show to the spectator that yes, this card was just shot out of the center of the deck. So once the card has been shot out, I actually don't really like to touch it, but sometimes I'll just move it over because this next part of the trick, I'm going to be counting down to whichever position the spectator placed their card in. So I tell them that you might not believe me that this is your card, but let's go ahead and check if your card is still in your position. So what was the position you placed your card in? They tell me 20. Yes, they do have to be completely truthful or else it's not going to work. So just make sure they're telling the truth. Make sure you have a good spectator for this trick because any hecklers, this trick is definitely not going to work. So they tell you 20 and you're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and the 20th card. You're gonna stop right here and you're gonna turn it over and look at it. Now look at this. It's actually going to be the other red king that you set up beforehand. This is actually how the trick works. So every single time, it doesn't matter what number they choose. They can choose literally any number. This card is always going to be the card that is shown here. That is always going to be the wrong card. The reason for this is because you actually had it on the top of the deck in the very beginning of the trick. So when they were counting out the cards to, place their card in the deck, this card was dealt on the bottom, and then therefore when it was placed back on top of the deck, this card was actually placed directly on top of their selection. So when you show the wrong card, you're gonna say, is this your card? No. The reason is because their card is actually right here, the next card down. It's going to be the 21st card, always, or whichever number they chose +1. It's always going to be the next card down after this soulmate card over here. One more thing I like to do, very, very subtle thing, is I like to name this card a certain way. I don't say, is this your card, the King of Hearts? Don't say King of Hearts. I like to say, is this your card, the Red King? Just say Red King, because they're going to be seeing this king again in just a minute, or they're gonna think that they're seeing this king again, but it's actually going to be the other king over here on the table. So I say, is this your card, the Red King? They're gonna say no, and as they're responding no, I'm gonna perform a top change, just like this, to switch out the king for their selection. So you can do this in a multitude of different ways. You can do this as they're responding, you do a top change like this. You can also do this as you take the card that's on the table and you turn it over. So I do a top change as I take my hand, flip over this card and say, is this your card? No. Well, once the move is done, just make sure not to flip over this card. You say, well, that leaves only one possible explanation over here on the table. And now you're gonna perform the final sleight, which is actually a Mexican turnover. So all you're gonna do is hold the top left corner with your finger so that the bottom of the card kind of pops up off the table like this. That will allow you to take the card in your hand, slide it underneath the card on the table, put your thumb on top, and then you're gonna turn your wrist over, and then you're gonna slide your fingers and thumb apart like this, so that you will be able to basically rest the 3 now onto the table. And at full speed, it looks like this card was the 3 the whole time. And it looks like this is the king that you were holding the entire time from over here, but in reality, it's actually the other king. So that's what makes this trick so deceptive, is this Mexican turnover move. It looks like this is still the red king, and therefore, this move now, when you finish, it'll look like this is just the card that you used to flip over the card that was on the table the whole time, which was impossibly their selection. And that is how you can shoot the spectator's card exactly out of their desired position in the deck. So yeah, it's a really, really cool, really fun trick, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's a little bit sleight heavy, but it's not too difficult. I'm sure you guys will be able to get it down with some practice. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, be sure to like the video, and see you guys next time. Bye.